Trade disputes often feel like something reserved for governments and corporations. Yet, as recent developments show, the consequences ripple far beyond boardrooms. From wheat fields in Iowa to construction sites in Florida, tariffs and canceled contracts are reshaping household budgets, job security, and even the future of American industry. China pulls back the vanishing farm orders. For years, China was the largest buyer of U.S. farm products, spending tens of billions annually. Soybeans, corn, and wheat once sailed out of American ports at a steady pace. But in 2025, those ships slowed. China hasn't outright canceled its contracts, but it has stopped placing new orders. That silence is louder than words. Grain storage facilities now report stockpiles more than 20% higher than last year. Farmers feel the pinch as prices drop, while the supply chain around them struggles to adjust. Soybeans, in particular, matter far beyond farms. They're essential for cooking oil, animal feed, and even biofuels. With fewer exports, domestic processors scaled back, causing oil supplies to drop 12% year over year. Analysts warn prices could rise to $4.30 per gallon, while chicken, eggs, and dairy may increase 5 to 8%. For a family of 4, that means an extra $40 to $70 per month in groceries. But it's not just wallets at risk. According to the USDA, every $1 billion in exports supports about 7,500 jobs. With exports to China down 9 to 12 billion, as many as 80,000 jobs could be in jeopardy, from port workers to truck drivers. Farmers at a crossroads beyond crops. Despite this, many U.S. farmers remain resilient. Nearly 80% of farm household income today comes from non-farming sources, leasing land for wind turbines, solar panels, or even agritourism like corn mazes. Wind turbines can bring in $10,000 to $20,000 annually, and solar panels can earn $2,000 to $5,000 per acre. But not all farmers can participate in these opportunities. Only about 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 have the right land or location to qualify. Larger farms near power grids tend to thrive, while smaller, more traditional farms could risk losing up to 40% of their annual income if new subsidies don't come through. The 2025 Farm Bill pledges $28 billion over 10 years for expanded crop insurance. But honestly, insurance doesn't replace long-term buyers like China. Experts warn that 1 in 4 small farms may be forced to consolidate or sell within 5 years if markets don't stabilize. The lumber dispute, building dreams, paying more. For decades, Canadian softwood lumber quietly framed the story of American life, from the porches of Michigan suburbs to retirement cottages in Vermont. It was affordable, reliable, and, well, pretty much essential. But now, a 25 to 40% tariff threatens that foundation. The math is simple, but honestly pretty painful. Prices jumped $50 per 1,000 board feet. For a new single-family home, that means an extra $600 to $2,000 before the first coat of paint is even applied. Hardwood flooring that once cost $1,900 may now run $2,300, really straining household budgets. Construction firms are already feeling the squeeze, reporting delays as costs ripple through supply chains. According to Census Bureau data, new home sales are down 6.6% compared to last year. For young families saving for their first home, or retirees planning to downsize, the dream of affordable housing feels further out of reach. The impact doesn't stop with lumber. Tariffs as high as 50% on Canadian steel and aluminum have shaken manufacturing from top to bottom. Everyday items, beer cans, appliances, and building materials, are climbing in price. A new refrigerator, once $1,000, now costs around $1,120. Automakers face an even heavier burden. Ford, GM, and Tesla rely heavily on Canadian metals to build electric vehicles. With tariffs in place, the cost of producing an electric pickup has surged by nearly $8,000 per unit. The federal $7,500 electric vehicle credit, designed to encourage a greener transition, is effectively canceled out. The result? Higher sticker prices, slower adoption of clean technology, and growing uncertainty for factory workers. What began as a tariff dispute is now reshaping the affordability of homes, cars, and the very pace of America's push toward a sustainable future. Fertilizer shortages, seeds of a bigger problem. Canada also supplies most of the world's potash fertilizer. When supply tightened, U.S. farmers turned to other markets, often at 40% higher prices. Farmers in Iowa and Illinois warn they'll have to shrink planting acreage. Projected declines: 15 to 20% fewer soybeans, corn, and vegetables by year's end. That means higher prices at grocery stores and fewer exports abroad. Dairy farmers are facing their own crisis right now. Canada's quotas and tariffs, which can sometimes be as high as 200 to 300%, are restricting U.S. milk and cheese from entering the market. For small farms in Wisconsin, this could mean losses of $3,000 to $5,000 every month. And on top of that, U.S. cheese has faced recalls over contamination concerns. Because of all this, Canadian and European cheeses are starting to gain ground in U.S. supermarkets. Imported options might cost $2 to $3 more per kilo, which could add up to $30 to $50 more each month for families that really enjoy dairy staples. Copper doesn't usually make the news, but it's actually everywhere, running through our walls, our cars, and even our power lines. In 2025, tariffs pushed copper futures to their highest levels since the Great Depression, almost $6 per pound. That means higher costs just about everywhere. For example, an electric vehicle needs 80 kilograms of copper, so with prices soaring, each car costs automakers an extra $900, and that gets passed on to buyers. A mile of high-voltage power line uses 5 tons of copper, which can push up utility bills by $25 a month for households. And for construction workers and factory employees, there's a lot of uncertainty since U.S. factories risk losing 15% of their copper supply. As tensions rise, Canada is not standing still. It has deepened ties with Europe and Asia, promoting green metals to meet stricter European Union carbon rules. Analysts predict Canadian steel exports to Europe could rise by about 30% by the year 2026, leaving U.S. industries, scrambling. Canada is also opening new dairy and produce markets with the European Union. European cheeses in Canadian stores may soon cost 3 to 5% less, giving shoppers new options. And U.S. producers, fresh competition. Even in clean energy, Canada's lithium and graphite are flowing more toward Europe, raising U.S. battery costs by up to 12%. For middle-class families eyeing an electric vehicle, that could mean paying $500 more per car. Beyond goods, money itself is shifting. China and BRICS partners are reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar. In early 2025, China sold $19 billion in U.S. bonds, bringing holdings to their lowest in 14 years. If demand for U.S. bonds keeps falling, interest rates will climb. A $300,000 mortgage could soon cost families $150 to $200 more per month. Auto loans too may rise, adding pressure on middle-class households. Tariffs and trade disputes may start in Washington or Ottawa, but they end at kitchen tables across North America. From bread to lumber, cars to copper wiring, families are already paying more. Farmers face shrinking incomes, workers face uncertain hours, and consumers face higher bills. The bigger question is, are these tariffs protecting American industry, or just making everyday life more expensive? As the U.S. and Canada stand at this crossroads, one truth remains. Trade is not just about goods, it's about people. The families trying to keep food on the